Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Tuesday, 8th October 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Trinidad and Tobago's OWTU responds to Energy Minister's accusations of fake bid documents. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. The anticipated response from the Oilfields Workers Trade Union's Patriotic Energies Company Limited to the Energy Minister's shocking claims in Parliament has seemingly failed to address the major allegation of fraud made by Stuart Young. On Friday, the Energy Minister claimed that the company submitted a fraudulent document in its bid to purchase the Pointe-à-Pierre refinery. Akash Samaru again of CNC3 News has Patriotic's response and the reaction from Minister Young.
Following Stuart Young's bombshell in the Parliament, the response from Patriotic Energies Company Limited was much anticipated. After all, the minister claimed that the company affiliated with the OWTU submitted a fraudulent document where it claimed it had $1.5 billion in its bid to buy the Pointe-à-Pierre refinery.
Fake, fraudulent.
But when it came to Patriotic's response, while it outrightly rejected what it called Stuart Young's misleading statements, the body of the media release instead spoke of a financial partner. Patriotic said what was presented by the minister under parliamentary cover was not Patriotic's financial partner that met with the evaluation committee. Patriotic said the committee would have interviewed, vetted, and approved its preferred financier, and it believes their financial partner could withstand any scrutiny. Patriotic said it remains confident that it met all requirements and has presented the best proposal. However, in response, Stuart Young said he never spoke about any financial partner, and therefore Patriotic's statement still did not attempt to refute his allegation of fraud. He said it is clear and obvious that Patriotic is avoiding responding to the document they allegedly submitted. CNC3 News also sought to ask Patriotic some follow-up questions. However, all calls to OWTU President General Ansel Roger's phone went straight to voicemail. We understand the company is preparing another statement. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.
Haiti's government has deployed special police units after a gang attack on a small town on Thursday. More than 70 people, including children, were killed in that attack. The killings are the latest sign of worsening conflict in Haiti, where armed gangs control most of the capital Port-au-Prince and are expanding to nearby regions. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
Fleeing violence has become a daily challenge for millions of people in Haiti as gangs try to extend their control across the country. At least 70 people were killed in the town of Pont-Sondé in central Haiti by a gang known as Grand Cri, known for its cruel attacks on civilians.
The gangs arrived and killed people. There were a lot of victims.
The gang members reportedly set fire to at least 45 houses and 34 vehicles, forcing residents to flee their homes.
We have control of the situation at the moment. However, I caution people of the possibility of another attack. The police are in place, and they told me they are ready to respond to another attack.
Since the killing of Haitian President Jovenel Moïse in 2021, Haiti has been in chaos, with gangs controlling over 80% of Haiti's capital. The United Nations has deployed an initial 400 men from Kenya as part of a multinational security control mission to assist the Haitian police. But for now, the MSS, as the mission is known, is underfunded and outgunned.
The Secretary General stresses the importance of the joint efforts undertaken by the Haitian National Police and the Multinational Security Support Mission. Those efforts need to be supported. He urged Secretary General urgently appeals to all member states to ensure that the Multinational Security Support Mission receives the financial and the logistical assistance they need in order to succeed.
Haiti is struggling with violence and tens of thousands have been displaced. Half of the population is facing acute hunger, marking one of the highest rates of acute food insecurity in the world. People in the country are desperate for any type of assistance that for now is taking too long. Teresa Wu, Al Jazeera.
Documented domestic abuse cases involving police officers have sent shock waves across Trinidad and Tobago. The latest report from the Police Complaints Authority (PCA) details a catalogue of graphic incidents committed by officers of the law that were ignored by their colleagues. Jesse Ramdio provides details in this CNC3 news update.
A recent Police Complaints Authority report into domestic violence has detailed shocking types of abuse perpetrated by law enforcement officers against their spouse. Among the disturbing allegations chronicled was an officer repeatedly kicking his 25-year-old former spouse in her vagina following an altercation. One woman also complained that his spouse had slapped and harassed her at her workplace. A police officer was also accused of threatening to kill his partner, throw acid on her, and kidnap their daughter. The findings, based on data collected over a 9-year period, not only raised concerns about accountability, but also oversight in the police's response to domestic violence. The media ambassador for the police service, acting ASP Rajesh Lal, said that all reports of domestic violence are treated with urgency and were thoroughly investigated.
No matter what the report is, we deal with it as promptly and professionally as possible. We've gone back to the drawing board, and what are the initial reports? Once our initial report is made, if there's need for urgent attention, then the district officers will respond immediately, or the ARP officers will respond immediately. If persons are to be arrested, they will be arrested. The victims will also be spoken to, and they will also be given the opportunity to get counseling.
He further contended that any person making a police report of domestic violence who believes they are not being taken seriously should voice this concern to a senior officer.
Once the matter is referred to the SVD, the Special Victims Department, the officers at the SVD are also specially trained to deal with individuals, and also at the same time refer them to the Victim and Witness Support Unit. And any of this inappropriate action should be reported to the senior officer immediately. That is to stop as a matter of urgency. People are to be treated with the respect that they deserve.
The PCA is calling for urgent reforms and stronger mechanisms for reporting and investigating allegations of domestic violence by the hands of those in law enforcement. Jesse Ramdio, CNC3 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
48 years ago, the Caribbean experienced an act of terrorism labeled the worst in the English-speaking Caribbean. 73 people died when Cuban Airlines Flight 455, a Cuban flight from Barbados to Jamaica, was brought down by a terrorist bomb attack shortly after takeoff. A special ceremony in front of the memorial plaque at the Piarco International Airport was held to commemorate the anniversary of the attack. TTT's Stacey and Providence has more.
So I hereby once again clearly call for the removal of Cuba from that list of state sponsors of terrorism because there's no justification or evidence or basis for such a listing.
Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Dr. Amory Brown restating this country's support for Cuba. This on the day declared as Cuba CARICOM Day Against Terrorism. The minister joined the Cuban ambassador, the Trinidad and Tobago Friends of Cuba, and others at the Piarco International Airport to remember and honor the victims of the bombing of Cubana Airlines Flight 455. Leader of the Movement for Social Justice, David Abdullah, shared the link Trinidad and Tobago had to the incident.
The perpetrators of that crime were arrested at what was then Holiday Inn by members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And the commissioner today may not be aware of all those details. But there were two police officers who were not friends of the progressive movement, I could say that, in Trinidad and Tobago, but then Inspector Superintendent Randolph Burrows and Senior Superintendent Dennis Ramdwa were the ones who arrested and interrogated the two terrorists who placed the bombs on the Cubana Flight 455.
Calling the incident one of the most cruel events in the history of the Cuban Revolution, Ambassador Gustavo Feliz Olivares noted unfortunately it is not the only one. He was grateful for the support offered by Caribbean neighbors.
On behalf of Cuban people and the family of the victims, we send the solidarity of the Caribbean countries expressed over the years. Our gratitude to the government of Trinidad and Tobago for supporting the police investigation into Barbados crime. In particular, allow me to thank Prime Minister Dr. Kiruli and Foreign Minister Dr. Amory Brown for their statement against the blockade and the Cuban inclusion on the list of terrorist countries in international forums.
As he recognized Cuba's plight, Minister Brown acknowledged their fortitude.
I also want to commend the government and people of Cuba for their resilience in the face of acts of terror such as the one that occurred in 1976, and also for their resilience in the face of a very unjust embargo, which I know and I've seen with my own eyes has put tremendous pressure on ordinary people trying to live their lives and raise their families in Cuba.
He said we will continue to honor the memory of those who have fallen and the need to maintain the Caribbean as a zone of peace. Stacey Ann Providence for TDT News.
The fight over Jamaica's integrity laws being discussed. Here is CVM's Ramon Gordon with a report.
At least one legal expert is raising the alarm over legal action filed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, which seeks to dismantle key provisions of Jamaica's anti-corruption framework. Attorney Clyde Williams describes the move as troubling and cautioned of the possible implications for cases of illicit enrichment currently under investigation.
They will all fall away, and all public servants would now know that they are at large to steal and plunder public resources. It's as simple as that.
The Prime Minister has requested the Supreme Court strike down sections of the Integrity Commission Act and the Corruption Prevention Act, both laws passed under his administration. Holness is challenging Section 14(5) of the Corruption Prevention Act, which creates the offense of illicit enrichment, claiming they violate his right to due process and presumption of innocence. Attorney Williams provided his perspective by way of analogy.
So the whole idea is that when you send your declaration of income and assets, and we recognize, for instance, that over the last, say, 2 months, you've earned $20 million. But we see a declaration of $300 million. So it raises a question as to disproportionality between what you earn and your assets.
The Prime Minister argues that this provision imposes a reverse onus, meaning he would have to prove his innocence, which he claims is unconstitutional and breaches his right to due process.
Why we have the reverse burden is because it's difficult, given their positions of power, authority, influence. It's difficult to find out if they are really involved in illegal activities.
Speaking with the CVM News, Williams pointed out that the Prime Minister's sudden challenge of these laws raises concerns about the government's commitment to transparency especially since these statutes were originally enacted under Holness's leadership.
We need to keep our eyes open. Remember, this law is passed in 2017. Now it's 7 years now. This is the very first time that the Prime Minister has been investigated under this law to this point. And in the very first time that this is happening, the Prime Minister's take on it is that strike the law down. It seems to me that if it hadn't targeted him and he hadn't been investigated by the powers under the Act, we wouldn't be hearing that the law must be struck down.
The opposition was blocked from moving a motion of no confidence against the Prime Minister in the lower house on Tuesday. The government supermajority accused it of grandstanding. The Integrity Commission has yet to issue a statement following word of the suit. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.